All right, so here we go.
Yes, yeah, that works now.
Hello? 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 By the way, guys, I'm crazy, so welcome to my crazy little world. You guys may think I'm like super mild-mannered and whatnot, but I'm actually psycho. So welcome. Well, it's picking it up now, so we should be good. How about that?
Now the video feed is. I mean, it's live, but it's the same picture.
Alright, so here we go. Ah! Ladies and gentlemen, that is how you live stream. Give it a round of applause for yourselves, you guys. Alright, so we are currently broadcasting to about 30 countries right now. Yeah, it's super delayed, so if you hear any crazy noises in the back, that's that. First of all, welcome. We have a few people from out of state that are here with us. We have a few people from New York. We have a few people from Skillshare, and we have myself. You can't see my face, so you can't see anybody in here, actually. The live stream is all audio. I'm with about 10, 15 people here who have joined me in New York, the Skillshare headquarters, to basically talk how to make money as an artist. Just quick show of hands. How many people do we have in here that are photographers full-time? Full-time? Photographer in general? Anybody? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, basically everybody in here. And then we have graphic design, right? Okay, so we have one graphic design person in here. And everybody else seems like a photographer. So basically what I want to talk to you guys about is some successes and pitfalls that I found making money as an artist, how to present your work, and how to... what's up?
Picture is not up, it's still the same. So I don't know if you should restart just the video stream. Yeah, that's exactly what we got. What we're getting. Sound is good though.
See, like you fix one thing and then another thing goes wrong. Here we go. How about that? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a master troubleshooter. How about that? It's like 30 seconds delayed, so anytime I say something, it's like delayed by 30 seconds. That's why it does that. This has to work. It will work.
Sure it will. It's just the delay.
Yeah.
Yes, you're good.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm a beast.
Okay.
Today's class will be how to troubleshoot and how to use computers. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Daniel Lewis, aka It's for Gotham. I'm streaming live from the new Skillshare headquarters in New York City. I'm joined by about 10 photographers and graphic artists, visual people who have decided to join me. First of all, thank you to them, and thank you all to those of you who are live streaming. And thank you to Skillshare and to Megan. We have Megan Burt, who is our community manager over at Skillshare. And yeah, so we're going to jump right into it. Basically what I want to talk to you guys about. So basically the name is YMTA. The three acronyms I've used are money, technique, and aesthetic. Money being obviously the obvious, you know, how to make money. Technique is how to, you know, how you're going to use your camera, how are you going to use your specific build of your brand and how you're going to sell that. And then the last topic being aesthetic, which is how do I color grade, how do I do color theory. And that's like that's pretty dry stuff actually, but it can be fun depending on how you look at it. The reason why I'm doing this, I have a growing frustration with the current affairs of the photography world. There's a lot of people doing talks and they basically just tell you what filter to use, and it's not really, that doesn't put any money in your pocket basically. So like I've had a lot of people that come up to me or talk to me over online or whatever, and they're like, you know, how do I get money basically? And that's the question you should be asking, not what filter should I use or what camera do you use. Like, the most important tools are the ones that you have. And basically what I'm going to teach you how to do is use that framework of whatever tools you have, and that's how you're going to get money. Basically, it's pretty simple, but it's pretty dope at the same time. It's a chance to increase my offline fan base. I'm doing an experiment on you guys right now. Like even now, like when I did the first ping to see who would be interested in this, I took numbers down of everybody who would be interested, and I did analytics, and I saw, you know, exactly who was going to be what or who was trying to do what, and that's basically how I crafted this. So you guys who submitted to what you want, this is what you're getting. So that's pretty awesome. So pat yourselves on the back. I appreciate you guys. I have a quote from Albert Einstein: "Any darn fool can make something complex. It takes a genius to make something simple." That really resonates with me as far as like how I go about doing stuff. And yeah, without further ado, we're going to jump into it. Chance for you guys to get some questions. I opened up to the Skillshare premium users. For those of you who don't know, you're the building that you're in right now. It's Skillshare, basically an online community of teachers and people who teach basically everything from photography to typography, calligraphy, video. I think there's someone who teaches you how to like filter like beans or something. Like there's really a wide variety of people who teach, and it's all like housed online. So this is essentially a chance for me to get that online experience and bring it to real life. Yeah, see what you guys are doing. I want to hear from you guys as well. So this is an open discussion. Please don't feel like, you know, this is a one-way conversation. If you have any questions, just raise your hand or just jump in, and I'll repeat it through the mic because I'm through my headphones right now. And yeah, we're going to get going to it. So the numbers, 40% who I pinged talked about money. 80% of you guys between this age range. 96% male. So yeah. Invite your friends who are females, please. We have too many guys here. And actually, I think if we ran the exact numbers, we have exactly one female in here, and that's Kara. So it's very interesting. So when you guys do user response or whatever, if you guys set up like a Google Analytics and just have people ask random questions, it's a really good way to just be like, put your thumb on the pulse and see like where your fans are and what you can build on. So you guys are here to talk about money, and we're going to get right into it. First things first, if you are looking to start getting to that professional level and getting to the next step, you need to start developing something that everyone has, which is a contract, and an SOW, which is statement of work. So no matter how small the job is or whatever the client needs, I'm sending this piece of paper right here on the right, and that's going to have everything from the client's name and address to the location of the job, the start and end time. It's pretty detailed, and this is like that's like my how are you? You know, if someone says, hey, I'd be interested in working with Daniel, or it's for Gotham, you send off this piece of paper. This has all of, you know, everything. This has, you know, if I'm flying anywhere, the flight has to be direct, or I'm charging you more money for, you know. Okay, so I'll explain why I did that. Last, because people are like, there's really specific things in here that people are like, yo, this is crazy. Like, why do you have this in here? And everything that I have in here is like a purpose. So I flew to St. Louis in July, and the flight I had wasn't direct. And there was a storm that was over Chicago, which if anyone has flown to Chicago, it's the worst airport in the country to fly into. They'll have like the craziest set of storms, and it'll only affect like Chicago. And so I ended up sitting in Chicago for a day and a half. What should have been a 4-hour flight back home ended up being a day and a half. And so by that token, I missed a job back home here, and you can see like the domino effect. I had to get somebody to cover for me. And so that little clause right there, that's like, you need to fly me direct from point A to point B, and if not, you got to pay me more money. It's like you're basically covering yourself in case anything happens. So just really detailed stuff like that. It's really it's good to have just a receipt of your work. And if you have a manager or if you have a company you're working with, you need to direct this contract and proposition to them first. This is really important, so they get an idea of who they're dealing with.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is the statement of work and the contract, they're separate, or they contained within the same document?
Good question. So Kara just asked, are the contract and the statement of work the same thing? And the answer is no, sorry. Statement of work is a job estimate. I don't have that up here, but I can show you guys one a little bit later. Statement of work is basically a job estimate that says it's basically the contract, but it has this photographer will be doing this from A to B. It's really, really boring and dry stuff, but you need to put it down on paper. Otherwise, clients will take advantage of you. You know, you just got to have that stuff on paper. So good question. The dirty, you need to have a contract and a job estimate. That's non-negotiable. That's when someone says, hey, I want to work with you, that you send that right along. You send your contract and you send the estimate. If you're working with a corporation, they're going to need a W-9, which is a tax form. If you're doing it for yourself or a personal project, you need 1099. How many of you guys have day rates in here? If someone asks you for a job, are you giving them a day rate? Anybody? One person? Depends, Jose says. You as well?
What is
A day rate? Anybody know what a day rate is? Raise your hand if you know what a day rate is.
It's like 6 hours, and then half of like 3 hours. At least for me, it depends for everyone else.
Did anybody hear that? Everybody heard that? Please nod your head. Say yes. Be heard. Okay, so basically a day rate, that's your hourly wage. That's how much you're charging for your work. So if you're in the state of New York, minimum wage is $7.25 an hour, right? So you need to say, what is my minimum wage? What is my rate that if somebody asks for my work or my time, what number am I giving them? What is your non-negotiable? You can charge by the hour, or you can charge by your talent. If people will ask you for an Instagram posting, that rate should be valued on your followers or your impressions. So if Foot Locker hits me up and they say, hey, we need a post of the whatever sneaker, you need to say, okay, well, you're going to get charged this. A lot of people get away with charging nothing for Instagram postings, and that kind of dilutes the art in a sense. Like, people are like, what? I can charge for, you absolutely can charge for an Instagram post. Like, don't feel bad for charging for an Instagram post. Those are your fans. That's your work that you put up. And we're in the era now of people being able to make money off of stuff like that. So that's not, you know, it's not non-negotiable, but that's something you should take into consideration when you're putting together a rate. Corporations and agencies tend to have much larger budgets. So normally you can have like a rate that you'll give like a Nike or a Kith or whoever. Smaller businesses or individually owned businesses, they're typically scared of larger rates. So if you get into like a week of doing photography and you give them like a number in the thousands, they'll back out because they'll be like, oh, this is too much. We don't want to do this. We'll find someone else who will do it for free. So you got to figure out how to play both sides. You got to be like, hey, if a big corporation hits me up, I know exactly how much I'm going to charge them. But also if a guy or my friend who owns a clothing brand, he wants his lookbook done, I know also that I have a rate that I can send to him. Does that make sense? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Weddings and larger events are excluded. Don't ever charge less than $100 an hour if you're doing weddings. Please. Yes? I don't know if anybody does weddings in here, but don't charge anything. Weddings are the most stressful type of photography that you can do. It's right up there with like sports, and it's probably more stressful than sports, to be honest, because you're dealing with bride and groom. And yeah, so this is the job estimate that we just talked about. This is the SOW, or statement of work. You have the client's name. That's Nike, GMC, JetBlue, whoever the client is. That's up top. You have the dates of production and execution of the estimate. That's not the same thing. So you have the production date, and then you have the date that you actually sent it. So that's basically the receipt for your records and the receipt for the client's records. You also need to have estimate terms and payment terms. You say, you know, this is valid for this date or until this job starts then. You know, client agrees to confirm with the vendor. So this is also something I have in my my estimates as well. If you're going to work with me, you have to confirm within 48 business days of the actual job, because people hit me up like the night before begging and pleading, yo, I need a photographer. It's like this really big event. Can you do this, or can you fly out to here? And I'm like, no. You have to value yourself like at that level, because if you start becoming that guy who just does stuff overnight, or someone they know they can just pull you up, you know, within like an hour's notice, it's going to be a really bad look, and it's going to start getting around that you're that guy to do that. So some people like doing that. I know a lot of people who are like tour photographers, and they get hit up like the night before, like, yo, can you get on a plane right now? It's like they'll do that. So unless that's something that you want to do, you need to say like, hey, I want a week's notice, or I want 2 days notice. This is stuff that needs to go on your estimate, and it's different for every client. So you need to take that advantage. I also have late fees. Like, this is like a non-negotiable as well. Like late fees are such a big thing. How many has anybody? Well, has anybody been paid by photography at all? Raise your hand. Okay, or art at all? Okay, basically everybody in here. Raise your hand if you've had to chase someone for money. Not photography necessarily. Can be in life. Yeah, okay. Everybody in here has had to go after somebody for some money, right? Like it's not fun. School, yeah, you know, work, you know, hey man, you owe me $20. Like what's going on? Like, so try to imagine that on the scale of like thousands of dollars. Like, hey, I did this project for you 3 months ago. You know, you don't have the money. That's an issue that I have with corporations and agencies because they pay on a scale called net 30 days of the job. That's extremely annoying. There's net 30, there's net 60, which is a month and a half, and then there's net 90, which is 3 months. So it'll be one of those three, and the client may or may not tell you up front. So one of the clauses that I have in the bottom is, look, this is a late fee, and if you don't pay this, you're going to keep getting invoices for every week that you haven't paid me past this agreed date. So you can really, like, you can make more money on late fees than you can actually on a job because people hate paying photographers on time. Like, it's just like, it's an industry thing. And I've noticed that, like, just at least this year freelancing, people love to just be like, oh, we'll pay you after, but can we get the content now? Like, you got to value yourselves like really high. Like, if you walked into a supermarket and you tried walking out with a bag of celery and you just walk past the cashier and they're like, oh, no, I'm going to pay this after I eat it. Like, you would get arrested, bro. Like, that wouldn't fly. Like, you have to think of it as your photography is that bag of celery, and Nike or GMC or Bob from next door cannot take that celery out of my store until there's terms agreed to that. So like, this is stuff you guys need to like think out, and you know, how do you want to execute this? So have that on there. All right, so what if you're like, yo, I got my contract, I got my estimate of work, I got my photographer's uniform, I have a Supreme hoodie, and bro, every photographer in New York City has this outfit. I'm just gonna leave this up here for a little bit. Some of you guys in here have this. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, like, you know, you got all this. It's like, what do you want to do now? So it's like, okay, I have to make goals. So you have stuff that you want to do right now. You have stuff that you want to do, you know, 6 months from now. And then you have stuff that you want to do maybe 5 years from now. This is a picture up here that I did for Nike Running. For those of you who don't know, my primary job is working with the Nike social media team. And so we'll get product, we'll get gear, or we'll get, you know, sneakers, whatever. And it's like, tell a story with these clothes or with these sneakers that will make somebody want to buy them. So it's not just like your regular basic picture. It's like, yo, take this out into the field and make somebody use it. So this is actually a good friend of mine, Adam Davis, who's wearing these. And I just had a model out in the day for like, you know, like 2 or 3 hours. And this is like one of the photos that we got. So stuff like this, even if it's not for a job, like if you take out your friends or you take pictures of whatever and make a list of that, like compile that together and be like, yo, this is what I want to make for this brand, right? So like if you really like taking pictures of floating candles or, you know, glasses, you need to be like, these are all the pictures I have of glasses or floating candles, and this is who I want to sell this to. So like, does that make sense? You guys need to figure out like, who do I want to craft my portfolio to, basically. So basically the 4 things I do this once a week. I draft a wish list of clients, people that I'd like to reach out to, people that I'd want to do stuff for, and places that I would like to do this in. So whether that's, you know, I went to Chicago a lot this year to do work. I went to DC actually yesterday. Not crazy big fancy places, like maybe it's like upstate New York, or maybe you want to go to Miami, or you want to go, you know, you got to open your horizons when it's coming to like places you want to go. So it's like if Kara wants to like do graphic design, or Jose wants to go do photography in, I don't know, Portland, like figure out people in Portland or people in Maine or people wherever, and start making a list of people that you want to start reaching out to and be like, hey, this is what I bring to the table. This is why I'm good at it. And this is why you should hire me. You got to be able to start, you know, producing that stuff. I set a plan and I make sure those things happen. I give myself deadlines. People think like freelance is super easy. Like I get to wake up like every day and do whatever I want. That's partially true. But like I get up and I'm hustling from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep. And it's like I'll go to a coffee shop for a little bit and maybe I'll do like 2 hours of drafting a proposal, somebody that I'd want somebody to see something, or I'll be editing, or I'll be keeping track of my invoices or my records or keeping my books, and then I go home, I rest, and then I wake up and I keep going. Like I'm always, you can't let up, because think about it this way: when you're going to sleep, or if you're freelance, or if you want to make that jump from not having a job and working for yourself, like you have to always be pushing yourself. Otherwise, somebody else is going to catch up and they're going to do it. They're going to do it better, and they're going to get more money, and you're going to be tight. You're going to be salty. I don't want you guys to be salty. I want you guys to make money. Like, this is why I'm doing this. You guys understand? Like, you guys are like, excuse me, you guys are like, I'm getting some like really scared faces right now. They're like, oh my God, like, but like you gotta take yourselves like very seriously when you do this stuff. Like your personality, like that, let that show through. Like your personality can still be open, and you're relaxed, or you're chill, or you're funny, or you crack jokes, and that's what you get known for. But when it comes down to like the nitty gritty of it, when you're going out and you're looking for work, you need to be relentless. And especially here, like I'm assuming everybody except Karen lives in New York, right? You guys are all in New York? You live in New York? Everybody else, right? Jersey? Okay, DC. Okay. I was just in DC. That's crazy. I went to go see Joey Badass. It was crazy. You were there? I was in VIP. We up in the top. I was sleeping in VIP.
So you send out proposals to clients that you want to work with, or you did that at the beginning and pass it?
Okay, so Kara asks, do I send clients up front a proposal? Yeah, for most of the time. Nike, I was actually fortunate to, I actually worked Nike retail for 2 years. I worked at Nike Town, New York. I was selling sneakers and t-shirts for 2 years. I hated it. I hated it. And I was like, always seeing these Nike corporate people who were coming in and, you know, walking around. They were all dressed in all their Nike. They all dress like this. I hope nobody from Nike is watching this, because I'll get in trouble. But anyway, and I just started handing my stuff off to people. So I used my environment. So like if you work in Adidas, or you work in a Foot Locker or whatever, and you see like your brand associate or brand ambassador, it would be if you're trying to do sports, they always come in and it's like, well, hey, I do photography. Like make it aware, bring it to their awareness and their attention that, hey, I do this. You know, is there a way that I could get into an event maybe and create some content? Like that's easy. You know, that's what you got to be able to say. Yeah. So does that answer your question? Yeah. Yeah. What's up?
Do you already have like a big following like on social media, or
Before I started doing this,
yeah,
or right now?
like before you started doing it?
I had a question. Did I have a big social media following? I was at about 30,000 followers when I started doing this. It was like right after I got suggested, and I was suggested for a week, and after that, like everything else has just been natural growth. By the way, don't get suggested, please. It's such I don't recommend it to anybody. I recommend that you put in hard work, dedication, and be consistent than having a bunch of numbers. I'm the first person to tell you this. Like, I consider myself like the people's Instagrammer. I hate people who just think they can get jobs with large followings. That's not the way you should be thinking. Because there's a lot of people in that industry who are doing that, and because they have big numbers and their work is garbage. So I've looked you guys up. I've seen some of your work. I know you guys are posting on my Skillshare. I know you guys, like, there's an outlet. Like, there's enough room at this table for everybody to get paid. That's how you guys need to look at it. Don't look at it as like, oh, I'm in my city and there's like one guy doing it. Like, oh, it's just one person. Like, it all feels like, who says like you can't be that guy? You know? That's how you guys should look at it. So that's a really good way to keep yourself motivated as well. Keep a journal and stay organized. If you're, you know, if like I'm in the position where I'm chasing people for money right now, and I give them a day to wait, and then I call them again. Hi, this is Daniel. You owe me money from 3 months ago. Call me back. Bye. Stay organized. Otherwise, you'll forget stuff and you'll lose out on money. So for brands and personal marketing, this is also a picture. I did this for Hypebeast a while ago. Actually, not a while ago. This is like 3 weeks ago. They asked me to go to 4 places and just post things that were different in the Highline Park. And it's actually like the very beginning of the park, like on 14th Street. It's like looking down. And, you know, I find stuff like this really unique, and this is a really marketable picture, because if you just look at it, like, how many just clients do you think would want to be able to buy this? Any suggestions who would want to buy this or use it on their social media? Maybe like FedEx, right? Look, there's some packages on the ground.
You got the rope.
You got the rope, like he's going to tie the packages. Maybe like a health insurance company that wants to show, you know, people shaking hands. Like you have, you know, you got to think about applications of your pictures. So this is not just something that you can post on Instagram. This is something that's sellable. And if you guys look at it like that, with all of your work, I think you'll start to find that you have different inspirations floating around. So this didn't go anywhere. This went on Hypebeast, and I didn't sell it to anybody or use it for anything. But that's how I like to look at my work. That's the stuff I like to shoot. I like to shoot not a bunch of busy places. I like to pick out the one person that's like hanging out with his head down or with like a yellow jacket or something, and I'll post that. And that's something that's like really worked well for me. Taking pictures of large crowds of people, you like taking pictures of cityscape or sneakers or cups of coffee or puppies or feather pillows. I don't know. Like, think about what you like to shoot and then figure out, okay, well, this is the brands that I want to reach out that have that stuff that I like to shoot. If you read magazines, I'll get to this a little bit later. You can open to the first page and look for a contact list. We'll get to that in a second. DMs on Instagram, they're super useful. Contrary to popular belief, you can slide in like most businesses' DMs and they'll actually get back to you. I've had some success with Palladium Boots doing this. With like Marriott hotels, they'll get a social media person to answer your DM. And it's like, hey, I have this picture, you know, something that's eye-catching. I would like to work with hotels or with whatever. Can you tell me more information about how I would get some money for taking pictures? They'll most likely get back to you within a couple of hours. So don't knock that off. You don't necessarily have to email everybody. Be persistent, but not annoying. That should just speak for itself. If you're presenting an idea, make sure your thoughts are properly in order and your thoughts are all together. I can be a really scattered person sometimes. Like I have ADHD, like I'm super jittery and I can be a lot over the place sometimes. But when I'm presenting an idea, I have beginning, middle, and end. And it's almost like in layman's terms, really simple, like what I want to do, who I want to do it with, why you need me and not somebody else. It's like very flat out and simple. And presenting a proper portfolio, this is like another big thing that we'll get to next. Depending on the client, the images won't be the same. Don't be lazy. If you have 20 pictures and they're all of like lookups, you're going to be really limited. Like, and you want to give them to like Starbucks. You think Starbucks is going to want to buy 20 pictures of lookups? Like, no, right? Like, you got to switch it up. Like, okay, maybe you take yourself out of your element and you have a lifestyle picture, or maybe you have like a picture of a bare wall with a table and like stuff like, look at this, like stuff like this, even in like the Skillshare office. Like if you wanted to tell a picture of like, I don't know, like coffee beans, right? So you have like a coffee grinder. Maybe you stand against the wall and wait until like the sun comes up over here and you take a picture of some coffee in here. And then you have that in your portfolio. You know, just so it's not like, oh, he just has a bunch of pictures of this. That's how you make your stuff kind of diverse. And that's how you can like, okay, I can use this other than Starbucks. I can use this to like a Hypebeast or a lifestyle editorial, you know. So you have options. So we're going to get into portfolios, how to make them and who to send them to. Right here. So I pay attention to everything. This is some sample pages from a portfolio that I have. So up here in the top left, this is Nike Women's. This was actually the first picture I did for the Nike Running Instagram account. It's a very good friend of mine. I did this in Chicago. I woke up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to get this. And this is just like stuff like details, right? I don't want other people walking in this shot. Like this just looks a whole bunch more marketable because I sacrificed and I woke up earlier to get it empty. It looks a little bit more like personal. Excuse me. That's basically with everything else in here too. This is a good friend of mine, Chris, that I took the shot in Portland. Is, you know, waterfalls speaks for itself. I could sell this to just, you know, I could sell it like, can you imagine like a little Starbucks logo right here? You know, there's like some water coming down, like maybe like, I don't know, blue almond nuts or something, like, or like granola. I don't know, like, come on, like you guys. Yeah, like, come on, you guys got to think, like, wide. This just looks like a banger on anybody's Instagram feed, but, like, what if I took this and I had a whole sample set of images? This could be a camping company. This could be a company for tents. This could be, you know what I mean? Please say yes. Do you agree with what I'm saying? Yes? Okay. What's going on? What's up?
So would you, like, send that picture, like, in an
maybe this in a DM. I do things a little bit differently. I use a portfolio. So that's basically, it's just a PDF. So if it's like, I know I want to reach out to, let's say, like Herschel Supply, and I want to shoot backpacks, right? This would be one of the photos I would put in there. So you show the client, this is the application of my photos that I've done in the past, and this is how it's going to look. Insert your product here. You know what I mean? It's really cut and dry. It's that easy. Yeah, so, you know, stuff like CTA, like transit authorities, they really like pictures like this. This is another Nike picture. Chicago again. And this is some stuff from All-Star Weekend. I have a diverse range of work in my portfolio. I show that I'm well-traveled, and I can get myself out to different locations. So a lot of the traveling I did to Chicago was just by myself. And it was like, yo, I really like the stuff that Chicago has. I want to go there, and I want to shoot it. Not doing it for anybody, doing it for myself and building my portfolio. I did so much Chicago shooting. Like 20 brands hit me up over the summer. They're like, yo, can you come out to Chicago, da-da-da-da-da. And you have to tell them, hey, I'm not from Chicago, but I'm able to get myself there. And most of those jobs I was able to make happen just because I had shown previous work that I'd done in Chicago, and it looked good. You know, I wasn't rushing it. I wasn't half-assing it, and it came out well. Same thing with this Nike picture here. You know, there's clear branding. It's obvious. You know, the swoosh is right here. It's not covered up by anything. Same for this picture right here. You guys got to take out unnecessary pieces of garbage out of your pictures if you're making a portfolio. It seems like a small detail, but it's a really big one that people overlook. I'm going to drink some Red Bull because my throat is so dry right now. Do I have any questions so far? I've just been throwing a big stream of stuff at you guys, and I don't... What's up, Jose?
So in the DM, would you like put a link of the PDF, or how would you do that?
All right, so Jose asks, would I put a link in a DM?
And then you can click the link.
Right, it's actually super annoying. Like, wouldn't that be useful if you could just click to like a portfolio in Instagram? I hope somebody from Instagram is listening to this, and then we'll change that. What I would do is I would put my website in the link, or my Tumblr, or a link to a specific image that I think works really well. Most of the time, I'll just start off with, hey, is there an email that I can send more work to?
Yeah.
That's it. So that's like a pretty good way to start off with that. Anything else? Nobody? You guys are scaring me. You guys are awake? No, you're not. All right, so here's the next sheet we got. This is what I was talking about earlier. This is the first page of the latest edition of Wired magazine. Wired is a design magazine that I subscribe to. It's really good. But you have in the first page, I'm sorry for the live stream people, but we're going to zoom in a little bit here. You have in the first page a contact list. All newspapers and magazines have this. You have the editorial team. You have design, photo, video, and technology, production, contributing editors, and they have their Instagrams and Twitters on here. So see, look, Twitter, dark blue, Instagram, light blue. So if you want to hit up David Moretti, that's your deputy creative director. Does that just not blow anybody else's mind, or no? Like how accessible that is? Yeah. So magazines are starting to do this. Like, they're becoming more accessible. You don't have to write a big letterhead or fancy letterhead. Like, you could just hit this guy up on Twitter. Be like, yo, man, I want to take some pictures of whatever, excuse me, and, you know, see what you get. So that's like, that's a way in. You're looking for a creative director, an art director or buyer, head of creative, whatever. Anything with the words creative or director in it that can be useful. Director of photography, director of whatever. That can be super useful. I'm seeing you guys take pictures and notes, so I'll leave it up here for a minute. Does anybody have any questions?
And most of these directors are okay with PDF portfolio, or do they want to see something on your website too? Or?
That's a really good question. So Kara asks, do they want to see PDF portfolio? That depends on the client. I would say for most of them, because we're in an internet age, like, they would be comfortable with it. I don't see why not. There's obviously like the bigger publishers like Condé Nast. Does anybody know what that is? No. Super big magazine publishing company. Super big, huh?
National Geographic?
Yes, they're one of the publishers for NG. Oh yeah, hold up. I'm gonna charge my thing really quick because I'm about to die. Thank you for noticing that. Pay attention to everything. You guys are winning right now. We're almost done, guys. See someone like falling asleep. I'm not going to say who. That's like the most annoying picture of a low battery ever. That's like a mug of Kool-Aid with like a little bit at the bottom. It's like, yo, this is it, man. This is it for your computer. It's a wrap for you. Unless you plug it in. All right, hashtag Drake. I'm charged up. Yeah, so all magazines have this page. This is like a splash page. You know, reach out to them. Anybody interested in shooting for magazines or documentary stuff or creating for? It's a really honest and it's a really profitable way to do your art. Like seriously, if you guys make a list of anything first, reach out to magazines or like editorials. They have really good structures. They have people who have been doing photography for like 20 or 25 years, and most of them are open to like seeing younger people being interested in photography or whatever, graphic design, video, whatever you do, and they'll teach you. And that's a really good way to like, okay, I did 5 years at Vice or I did 5 years at National Geographic and now I'm ready to do my own thing or start my own firm or agency, whatever. So like, that's a good way to get started, and it pays really well too. So,
How many pieces would you put in your portfolio?
how many pages in mine right now? I have 3 pages for personal. Actually, I'll show my portfolio later. That actually is a good. That is a good. Well, actually, we're at the end. We're at the end, you guys. That's crazy. You guys clap it up for yourselves, please. Thank you, guys. Yeah, so this is all my shenanigans right here. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to this. I'm going to show my portfolio right now. That's actually a really good segue. Oh, another good thing to do is to make photo reels of your stuff. You guys make photo reels? Okay, so if you do video, something you'll need to make is a reel. So like I'll show you like a sample. Hopefully this plays. I don't know, maybe it won't. Oh, it's playing through my headphones, but I'll pop it out for a second. So imagine like if you like are a creative whatever person that comes across your desk, like that's exciting, right? That's like this is put together by my friend Sean, who we're actually making our own agency, which is called Basher. Stay tuned for that. We're changing the game.
What's the reason behind the name?
That's a secret because we haven't released it yet. The reason of the name is actually a secret, and that's part of our marketing pitch. So. That will be revealed. So here's a really good, I guess. I just stitched together like 30 photos, like not 30, maybe like 100 in Premiere. I do video also, for those of you guys who don't know. I'm a director, DP, just director of photography, so I can direct stuff. And part of that comes into like, I apply this to my photos as well. So like I'll send someone this if they want to.
Rising in the fall, never my intent. Shit forever, printed in cement. And if I ever sin, promise to repent. I'm trying to win, I ain't trying to present. Gotta listen close like it's coming through the fan. Rappers can't see me.
Alright, so that's like 15 seconds. What's up?
Have you seen any of the video Ilganger does for these?
Ilganger. I've worked with him before.
Yeah.
He does a lot of the Nike stuff in Detroit, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Portland, right. Okay, yeah. No, I have bumped heads into him a few times. Yeah, I think I've seen his stuff somewhere. But yeah, so like stuff like this is like really good. Because if someone's like, oh, I don't have time to look at your Instagram feed, I don't have time. Everybody has 15 seconds.
Right.
Everybody has 15 seconds. Like, whoever it is that you're sending it to, you know, you just digested like 3 years worth of work in like 15 seconds. So like that's, what's up?
Alright, Do you think that might be too fast, or does it matter?
Well, if it's too fast, they're gonna have to. I think I saw Trash Shannon Swopes. Black History Month. Train tracks. Random picture, but it's really cool. I like it. LeBron. Random architecture picture. Johnny Castle standing on top of the Jewelers Building in Chicago. That's like a 300-foot.
You include this in like when you send like your pictures.
Absolutely, I would include this. Yeah. So this is like a quick little thing I would put on my Vimeo, or I would make it like a private listing. I would be like, hey, here's a quick sample of my images. I actually took my website down. I'm taking it down for like the next 2 months. I'm recoding it, I'm redesigning it and branding it. It's gonna look so crazy. I have some like really big things planned for it. And so basically this is like my mini website right now. So if anybody's like, hey, I need to see some samples of work, you can they'll have this, they'll have my portfolio, and then they'll have my Vimeo page, which has all my video stuff on it.
And then you also have the Create and Explore videos.
I have the Create and Explore video. So there's tons of stuff that I've done that it's compiled my work together. So if anybody needs to be like, hey, I need more, it's like, well, you know, then I can make something that's personalized depending on the client. So yeah, this might be considered a little fast, but as far as like, this is more of like a flashbang. Does anybody play Call of Duty in here? Used to? Like, remember like you run in the room, like this is how you like stun. This is how you like stun everybody that's in the room. Like, okay, if someone sees that, it's like, okay, this guy seems like he's really serious, like he's got a quick little reel of stuff. So I'll have a reel of my video work also, and then I'll have a reel of like photos, and I'll send both of those out. 9 times out of 10, that it will land a job. It's a lot easier than you think. So it doesn't have to really be fancy and detailed. Let me see. What's that? Making reels? Keeping it real, making your own reel. Do I sense a pun? So what I was going to show you guys was my portfolio. Boom. So this is something I send off to the Nike people who ask for my stuff. See, quick little lady's name, what I need. So it's like I use 3 or 4 things that start with P. It's like super simple, like product, right? You have 3 photos of product. People. Okay, he could shoot people. Okay. Places. Personal. That's it. And then a quick bio. This takes like a minute to go through, guys. Like this is like so easy. It just looks really cool because it's like, okay, well, can you show me a quick view of your work? It's like I've done product shots. There you go, Nike. This was for High Beast. Also High Beast. People. Random picture, you know. Nike. Look, like clear branding, but it's also fun. Like there's stuff going on in my pictures. It's not boring. Like I'm trying to make interactive stuff that kind of pops off the page. This is just a random picture, but you know, it's something I like. And you guys should have like a nice little balance of everything, stuff that you've worked hard on and stuff that is that's also marketable, you think. This is like a parking garage in like Whole Foods in Chicago. That's a parking garage. But it's like super marketable because it's yellow and it's, you know, it's cool. That's at home. That's like around the corner from my house. Chicago. That's a beach. And then personal stuff. Nike, whatever, architecture, or, you know, lifestyle. And then that's it. So it's it's really simple. It's a good way to have, you know, a basic understanding to anybody who wants to know about your work. Like this is what I do and this is how I do it. That's about it. Do we have any questions?
Writing your contract in SOW. Was there like was it something you just kind of created your own, or was there something online that you kind of found?
Good question. Good question. What's your name, brother? Kelly asks, did I use a template for my SOW/contract? And the answer is yes. You guys heard of a.com director who's a director of photography for Men's Journal and Outside Magazine? See, look, that's a magazine, and he's running an editorial teaching people how to basically brand themselves. So they have a quarterly that they publish. But they also have templates for contracts and resources. So if you were to go into resources, if you were going to search, hey, it's also a forum. So it's kind of like Reddit for photographers. If you wanted to be like, hey, I need help drafting a statement of work for this client, you'll get someone who like took pictures for National Geographic, and they'll be like, you should do this. And that's like really helpful because it's coming from someone who's like a professional. So yes, I did use this template. A photo editor, they have some templates on here, but also see, look, if I just wanted to search like photo contracts, and I went to like images.
Even on Microsoft Word, there's some templates.
Yeah, even on Microsoft Word, there's templates. All right, see, look, there's a contract right here. So I just take this outline or something similar to it, or the wording or whatever, and you make that your own, put your name on it. See, look, free photography contracts. This stuff is really accessible. So you have stuff, if you take pictures of people and you're selling it, you need a model release. That basically, that person is okay with having their picture taken. There's stuff for weddings. There's equipment rental agreements. You guys can charge for renting equipment. You guys know that? Yeah? Yes?
No.
Yeah, okay. No, we haven't. You guys know everything, okay? All right. Photography proposals that you guys can read, how to find clients, how to, and this is stuff this is like, oh, I don't want that, no. This is like stuff that's on the first page of Google. Like, you don't have to do a ton of digging for this stuff. So I recommend looking up 3 things. Look up how to write a contract. Look for a YouTube video on designing your business. So that's like keeping on your books. It's like your accounting. That's your money. That's your list of clients, people that you've worked with in the past. And then your portfolio.
There's some tutorials on Skillshare too.
And I teach tutorials on Skillshare. Great segue. Yeah, so I'm actually on Skillshare. If you guys aren't already on that, we're crafting the next upcoming episode, which is, I did 2 amazing classes over the summer that I taught, and I got a really great feedback from all you guys. We got like 26 or 2,700 students that enrolled in the 2 of these combined. I talked about synesthesia, which is basically like a color disorder that I have. It's not really a disorder, but it's kind of like it's like a superpower if you think about it. Like it's does anybody know what synesthesia is? Or does anybody not know? Okay, so basically it's like a bridge between like my senses. So if I see certain moods, like I'll draft a totally different set of edits like one day, and then I'll wake up tomorrow and I might feel like warmer or like colder, and I'll like re-edit everything and it'll look totally different. So I smell colors, essentially, like orange for whatever reason just feels like Cheetos to me. Like, it's really simple. Like, it's like orange equals Cheetos, right? Like, whoever would have felt like orange is associated with Cheetos, or like green kind of feels like trees or whatever. So like if I see certain colors, I'm naturally that's why you don't see a lot of like bright colors in my stuff necessarily, because I'm taking pictures of pretty dull stuff sometimes, and I like to add colors in that to make that a thing. So that was what I was talking about, using film and music as inspiration. That was the first class, did really well. And then editing with intention, I did a quick overview of how to use Lightroom and Photoshop. If you want to use both to edit your photos, that did really well. And the third one that I'm thinking about, or that we're thinking about, is kind of like a live shooting. Just going around and showing what I shoot and why I shoot what I shoot. So I think that could be really successful. We're going to try to do that before it gets cold outside. You will not catch me running around in like 10-degree weather. Like, as soon as it turns 30, I'm just all about like Netflix and chill. Like, I'm just inside. Everyone's like, oh my God, do you go out and shoot? And I'm just like, bro, it's like negative 10 degrees outside. I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, any other questions? Like, I'm free to answer, anything personal. Not too personal though, don't be creepy.
Yeah, I have a question.
What's up? Just go ahead, yeah.
Do you like, I don't see like much studio work there. Is that something that you like let the clients know that like I don't shoot studio, I'm just like natural light?
That's a good question. I do have studio work, and it depends on who asks. Like, depending on what it's for. I generally don't like studio work. I think it's kind of dull, at least for my taste. Like, I love natural light, and I love kind of composing my own stuff. I do have it though. Like if somebody needed to see it, I'd be like, I have it and it's good. It's just not something I choose to market myself with. So, good question. If that's something that you like or that's something that you want to like lean on, you should learn it. Everybody in there should learn studio photography. Seriously, like if you have a friend, it'll pop up. Someone will be like, hey, do you know how to use a flash transmitter? Or can you use like a light bright, or can you use, what's the other mobile flash that plugs into the top of the transmitter? What is that called? Whatever, flash transmitter, like the little thing, that signal transmitter that plugs into the top and it, yeah, automatically tethers your pictures to like the camera. You need to know how to use that stuff, because like sometimes you'll get put on a job and they'll have that stuff for you and they'll be like, hey, okay, go ahead, we need these pictures like in half an hour. That's like every Nike job ever. I'll take the pictures and they want them immediately. I have my computer, I have everything tethered up to my hard drive, and I just dump and I edit and I go home and I go to sleep. You guys are laughing, like it's funny. Nah, it's fun. Like you guys got to be able to turn around stuff really fast. So like learning studio work actually sharpens your stuff really good. I highly recommend it. If you can get a studio session with someone, highly recommended, especially for product. What's up?
In reflection to hitting people up through DM or email, I know how sometimes you go into stores or like places and you contact them. Some people use books or like portfolios like as a book.
Physical, yeah, physical books.
How do you approach that?
Actually, I need to get on that. Publishing physical portfolios is a really good creative way to get out to somebody. If you go into like in most advertising offices, there'll be like a stack of books like this high, and it's like, hi, I'm a photographer, I'd like to blah 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 blah, and it's a stack of like, you feel me, like 40 pages. Nobody wants to read that, so like you have to like make stuff that like sticks out. And you know, I know people that embed like iPads into their stuff. They put business cards or catch flyers or whatever. You really get creative. I recommend looking up how to make a portfolio physical, not just a digital. Anything else? Nothing? Nobody wants to talk about video? Genesis? How many people have seen Genesis? One person in here has seen Genesis? Are you kidding? That was my baby. You guys are laughing at me. I don't take this very well. Nobody knows what Genesis is. Alright, you guys have homework, alright? I was not going to give anybody homework, but you guys' goal is to hit me up like, can you play Genesis? And I'm like, nope. Look up Genesis. I'm going to show you what you search. It's the first one on here, okay? You guys do that for me? Yes. Please watch that.
Oh, I have another question.
Yeah.
So, like, if you hit somebody up and, like, you basically say, like, nah, we don't want to mess with your work or whatever, do you hit them up later, like, a month later?
Hell no. No. It's their loss. Move on.
They'll eventually hit you up.
The second that that's happened to me multiple times. Like, I was actually hit up to do a job with New York Times, and I think I could still talk about this. I don't know, it happened already, but I was hit up to do a job with New York Times and the Hyatt Hotel, and the first guy who was talking to me, he really liked my stuff. He was like, "This is the mood board. Your stuff looks really good. It's a good fit. We want to move forward with you, the photographer." The person who above him saw it, and he was like, "We don't like your stuff. You're not the guy." I left and I took a trip and I came back and they're like, "Hey, we'd like you to da da da." I was like, "No. No, you're not gonna be," and that's like a really hard thing to do, like being able to say no to like a whatever bajillion, however many dollars they have, and be like, no. And now like that conversation is different now because people don't hit me up just on willy-nilly to be like, "Hey, we need you." And like, you hit me up when you have a budget, when you have your money, and when you're ready to work. Does that make sense? So it sounds really harsh. Like I tell people that story and they're like, "Wow, you just lost like the opportunity of a lifetime." And I'm like, I probably did, but like I kept my dignity. I'm all about like keeping integrity and staying true to yourself. It's really hard to do in this industry, you guys. Like I'm telling you, you run into a lot of people who've just got caught up, especially now with like Instagram. Everybody can get a bajillion followers and take pictures of, I don't know, Daniel Wellington watches, and you know what I mean? Like, that was a joke. Did anybody, I hope Daniel Wellington is listening. Really, really, like $50 watches that everybody on Instagram is taking a picture of. And like, hey, hashtag Daniel Wellington, you can use my code and get 15% off a metal watch. So, yeah, that's how that goes. Yeah, absolutely. Be cool with saying no, but also be cool with saying yes. Like, not everything that I do is paid necessarily. Sometimes I'll do some stuff that's not for exposure. Like, I hate doing jobs for, like, quote-unquote exposure. That's not a good look. I don't recommend it. Don't do it. I would more do so for the application of, like, hey, I think this would be a really good tool for me. Not the other way around. Like, a lot of times people hit you up and they'll be like, hey, this is a good plug for you. Our feed has 2,000 followers and you have 10, and we're going to shout you out. Does that make any sense? Like, I don't know why people take jobs like that. And you're not getting paid. You're going to get like 2 extra followers off of that. So even though that doesn't matter, you're not getting anything out of that. So you got to restructure. Like, I really want to take pictures of bucket hats. I'm not getting paid, but I'm getting exposure taking pictures of bucket hats. And that's something like, it's a slight wording change, but it's making the job more exclusive for yourself rather than that brand. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Like when Mashable had like 100K, Tyler, he like for follower 5 or whatever, he hit me up for it, and I only got like, off 100K, I only got 100.
Right, yeah, they do like this. A lot of people just, I'm not going to name any names, but like brands do super weird things. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, a lot of Nike, Foot Locker, they don't tag the photographers. They never do. You know how much I don't even get into it, but there's a lot of extra money to be had if photographers are actually properly credited. So that's why I avoid, like, as of like a week ago, I stopped doing like recap stuff where I wasn't being credited as like a director or a.
Now, is that something you put in the contract? Like,
no. Someone will hit me up and they'll be like, hey, can you take pictures of an event? I'll be like, no. It doesn't pay enough. You're going to get hassled the entire day. Events are really stressful, especially for like the Nike and the. But it's very risky. People are really on a short temper because they're working with thousands of dollars. They're working with athletes. They're working with product, and a lot of times it just turns into a shit fest. Pardon my French. I don't recommend it. Well, I just said I did. Okay. Is anybody in here? I gotta explain it. Is anybody in here interested in taking pictures of events for basketball? You know, does anybody want to take pictures of LeBron shaking hands with kids?
I've done it.
You've done it. Okay, cool. So like concerts or anything, like you guys already have like an idea how it works. Like, yeah, concerts are even worse because you're dealing with promoters and advertisers who don't know what they're doing 90% of the time. So that's all I'll say on that. But yeah, so that's basically the sum up of that. Yeah, does anything else? Video, photo, life.
How did you get interested into like doing video?
Good question. I saw Ravi. Does anybody know Ravi Ora? What? No? You don't know Ravi Ora? Oh my goodness. This is gonna turn into like me just searching up all the things that you guys should go home and do tonight. And it's Sunday too. I don't want to hear any excuses after today. You guys have nothing to do right now. This is Ravi. He does a lot of Nike running stuff. Okay? He does a lot of stuff also with medium format cameras. So it's like, it's super, super detailed. This guy's a beast. And he also does video. He directs videos as well. I tell people to follow people on Instagram. I'll suggest very few people to follow on Instagram. And this is one of them. Out of like the 5 people I would suggest, he's like right up there with like the Trash and the Neil Brugg and company. The Jared Chambers. But he directs video, and he did a project for for Instagram a while ago, and it was like a short 15-second spiel, but it was directed really well, and he did it on an iPhone. And after that, I was like, I need to start doing video. So I just went out with the camera one day. And that's actually how Genesis came up. That was like my first kind of step forward in trying out video. It's super profitable. You could charge like twice as much money for it. Everyone's like, yeah, man, like my rate for photo is like $500, but my rate for video is like at that. Like you could charge so much more money for video, just because it's a lot more stress. It's a lot more work. Yeah, it's like it's a lot more rewarding though. Like I highly recommend at least trying to experiment with video if you guys have high capture DSLRs.
I do have a question about the rate. So what if you have no experience, but photography is something that you want to get into? What do you base your rate on? Do you just reach out to people like what I reach for me? I reach out to photographers that I know at home and just ask them because they're talking about money. I know it's sensitive.
It's touchy, yeah.
So how do you figure out what the market, you know?
All right, so we got a question about how many people do we actually have watching right now? 11. You guys all went away. Oh my goodness. Everyone's like, he's not posting his filters. Let's go home. Sorry guys, I'm teaching you guys about money today. So, how do I go about making a rate? Basically, my rate goes up every time I do a major campaign or contract. So, like, I just did Ad Week. You guys know what Ad Week is? I see a nod. Yes. No. Okay. So basically, it's like a conglomeration of like the Amazons and the Universal Pictures, and all their marketing people come out and they host seminars on how they market their stuff. It's like very interesting. It's really juicy stuff, and they teach you like how they do it on the corporate level, how they code their stuff, how if you're into web design. So basically, anytime I do stuff that's like major, the rate goes up a little bit. So people will hit me up from like a year ago, and they'll be like, "But you said you were." I'm just like, "No, between that year, I've shot LeBron, Kyrie, a whole bunch of Nike running stuff, and like I'm worth more now." Yeah, exactly. So exactly, it's called inflation, right? Like everybody wants an artist to stay the same. Like, oh, but you told me you were gonna charge me $50 for no. The milk doesn't cost 25 cents anymore. It costs $1.50 to adjust for the rate that people are making money now. The same should reflect in your day rate.
Another question.
Yeah.
What should you start off your rate at? If I don't have a price. As a beginner getting into, what would it be?
500
500
for a day. I just saw somebody just drill like, oh my God, like that's so much. No, but it's not like, essentially when you start breaking down and doing the math, it's like for a day, which I consider to be 8 hours, that's like $25 an hour. Lawyers charge like $100 an hour. To put that in perspective. So 500 for a whole day, you should feel comfortable. Like, I know numbers are touchy and nobody wants to talk about them. 500 for a day is what you should feel comfortable with. As no matter where you're from, this money is not different. Like I charge my rate based off of my time, and you know there's also different things you can do. Like if you're worried about, well, most people should do this, but I recommend asking for half of it up front, 50% up front, and the other half after the final batch of photos is done. If you're doing video, that's after the last draft is sent, the final cut, and that's when the other half of money comes in. So whatever client you're reaching out to, they need to put skin in the game. Because guess what? If you do all these photos and they don't pay you or they forget or you're not in their system, which you'll hear a lot if you're just getting started, it can turn into a nightmare. Especially if you did what I did and quit my job and just went into freelance and you don't have that negatively affects. Does anybody have, first of all, really quick, I got you really quick. Does anybody have full-time jobs in here? Or actual jobs? What do you do?
Paralegal.
Paralegal? You?
School.
Dope. Oh man, I'm gonna have to come visit you. You guys want to? Does anybody want to go into photography full time? Like leave their job and go into photography full time? Like eat, sleep, and breathe photography or art? Basically, everybody. You know, you want to you still want to do it, right? Did you raise your hand? Yeah, I'm looking at you.
Oh no, I raised my hand. I do it.
You still want to do it though, right? I got you. So, but you want to get better at it, right? Like you want to be able to still take jobs and whatnot. So everybody in here wants to get paid for their work. So I highly recommend That, yeah. So does that answer your question?
Yeah. So does that include editing as well? If you're gonna go back home?
Not for photo, because most of the time I'm doing stuff on site. So that's like included. If I'm 8 hours a day, the last half hour is going to be editing and sending out. So that's included in my stuff. If it's video, that means I have to go home and I have to process the footage. And I usually charge for video about $300 a day of editing. It's a small cut of whatever your video rate is, because you have to think that's if we're going off of the rate of charging for your time, that's still a portion of your time editing, because that's stuff that you can't be out walking your dog, you can't get groceries, you're editing, so that's like your time. So for those of you getting a video, take a portion of your day rate, 25% or 30%, and charge that for editing. And you tell them all the rates up front. Be up front. Don't tell anybody after the fact, oh, I have an editing rate, by the way. That's a good way to burn bridges. But yeah, be up forward and tell everybody about that up front. I saw one hand right here. What's up?
Yeah. So now, I was gonna ask about do you get paid half up front and then upon delivery you get the other half or whatever? Because a lot of people that I've done work for, they'll pay me afterwards. I mean, I've been lucky where I got paid every time, but I want to avoid that with anybody else.
Yeah, because that can get super sloppy, and I'm actually in the middle of that stuff right now. Like stuff I did from the summer. I hope they're listening, because pay me my money, please. That's actually why I do either 50 or 100% up front. I'm pretty confident at this point asking for all of it up front. It's the same thing. Everyone gets so scared. Think about it. If you wanted to go buy a table and you go to IKEA and they're like, okay, your total is $85.99. You're like, oh, sorry, I only have 40. Let me just pay you the rest after I use the chair and sit on it and get it. They're gonna look at you like you're crazy. So you should reflect. That same process should reflect in your art, regardless if you're a full-time student or if you're still doing it. That should still be the minimum. What's up?
Also, do you ever worry some of these big companies they can afford to if it has to go to court they're not afraid of that.
What do you court by what? Not paying me?
Yeah, by not paying you.
That's happened once. Not court, but the question is, am I gonna get taken to court for not getting? Am I taking anybody to court for taking? Man, it's so tough. Court is really expensive. I would never let it get to that point.
So you should take the L?
No, I'm never taking the L. I'm always getting my money, regardless. You're either gonna keep getting it, and if a business, think about it this way: if a business or a corporation continues to get an invoice that they haven't paid out, their accountant is gonna come to them at the end of the year. If you're thinking top level, if this is Martha Stewart Food and Beverages or whatever magazine or corporation, if they're doing their books and they're running at the end of the year and they see that they still haven't paid out a check to an invoice that was submitted to them, they're going to have to pay you. So in that sense, it kind of favors the freelancer or whoever. If they don't want to pay you, then I guess, I don't know. That's a really good question. And thank God I haven't came into that situation where it gets like that. And knock on wood, hopefully it doesn't come to that. But always just be prepared to keep sending invoices and be persistent. And unless they're total terrible people, they're gonna pay you. You did work for them. Anything else?
I think somebody wants to ask a question through the.
Oh, we got our first online question. Who is it and what is the question?
Well, he hasn't asked it yet.
Okay.
Sorry.
He's like, how can I figure out how to ruin this guy's day? He's typing it right now. It's the 3 little bubbles right now still.
Well, I have another question.
Go for it. Yeah, go ahead.
So I do a lot of urban landscape and architectural photography. Who should I market to?
Who can you sell that to?
Palladium Boots. Palladium Boots?
Palladium Boots, I would recommend this. I'll name drop. I don't care if they're listening or not. I'll name drop people you should check out. Palladium Boots, they have really heavy duty. It's not just portraiture shots. I don't know if you've seen their feed ever before. Basically, they have sneakers and product that's integrated with environmental portraits. So if that makes sense. So that fits a good niche for someone who takes urban landscape or cityscape, but you also just throw some sneakers in there that just happen to be Palladium boots. Does that make sense? That's a really good one. Man, I'm trying to think off the top. Any lifestyle brand, really. Any like editorial magazine. Yeah, you got options. Because it's a really wide branch of photography. You know, it's not like pictures of flowers or whatever. Like it's really, it could be anything. It could be a picture of a bill. So newspapers really like that kind of stuff. If you want to get into newspapers, that's really good. So do we have our question?
Yes.
What's up?
How did you get started?
Oh, the age-old question of how did I get started? Who is that?
Quantus Aqua.
Hi, Quantus Aqua. I can see you. Not really. Megan can see you. How did I get started in photography? Basically, I started doing it when I was 13. I'm 22, by the way. I just turned 22. For those of you guys who want to know. I was doing photography since like 13, and it was just a hobby, you know, picking up the camera, walking around. And I also moved around a lot. So like I had a good, pretty places that I always just had pictures of. I got more seriously into it when I was 19, and then Hurricane Sandy happened. And that kind of just like changed the game for everything, because a lot of people were like rocked. That was like the latest, like people look like people, unless you were actually here, like people don't realize how bad like Sandy actually was. I don't know if any of you guys were here for that. And I was actually living in the city. I was dorming on campus, and like we were in the substation. So like we went to the roof of the dorm, and I don't know if you guys have seen that picture of where like everywhere below 42nd Street was dark. Did anybody see it? Has anyone seen that picture? No? I'm going to show you guys right now. But this basically inspired me to take pictures that mattered. So I don't know if you guys can see this. So you have all the people that have money, right? Battery Park City right here. It's like almost the line was like carved out. And then you have Lower East Side, Chinatown, basically half of Chelsea, all of Union Square and the East Village totally blacked out. But you have 42nd Street and Times Square and everywhere else all light, right? Kind of weird, right? And I saw stuff like this and I was like, wow, that's like really powerful. Like it's a helicopter shot. It's like of the city that we know and love and whatnot. But it's like, it's super daunting. Like half of the Brooklyn Bridge is knocked out with lights. But when you get across the other half, like it's light. It was just crazy.
I think it might be even like on the airplane coming to the body. Like from there.
No, I think this is a helicopter. Like they commissioned a helicopter to go up and do this. But yeah, so this was like right after the storm happened. There was a substation that was actually next to our dorm that exploded, and it was on like 14th Street, super east. And yeah, after I saw that, I was like, yo, I have to take pictures of stuff that that resonates with me. And it's not necessarily like what are considered Instagram like bangers, like sunsets. I really like getting in people's like lives and whatnot, and you know, figuring out what matters to them. That's like a really detailed answer of how I got started. But basically, Hurricane Sandy in the fall of we're going on 3 years ago now that happened. And I've been doing it professionally ever since. And I've been doing it full time for a year now. So I was working at Nike Town up until Black Friday of last year, and I quit. Like I was like, I hate this job. I hate everybody here. Nobody likes me because I'm like a photographer. And yeah. Like you guys think I'm kidding. Like I'm a social outcast, you guys. Like I don't fit in with most people. And that's why being a photographer like works really well for my personality type. Like I would rather go home and edit than go out and party. If that makes sense. I've been told I'm an old man at heart. Take that as you will. Do we have any other questions?
One last one.
Yep.
Do you sell wallpapers of your lesser work?
Whoa, lesser? Lesser work? What are you trying to say, Kingsley? Where is this guy? I'm lurking, Gotham. Ha 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 ha. Oh, he's asking. Oh, okay, Ken Kingsley. That's funny. Do you sell wallpapers? This is actually a pretty interesting thing. I don't sell anything of my stuff. Like I used to have a tab on my page where I would just be like prints, and nobody was biting. Nobody was buying anything. And I was like, well, this is kind of weird. And I got to a space where I was like downscaling my brand, and stuff like prints or stuff that didn't need to be on the internet, I was taking it off. The second it went away, everybody hit me up. Yo, what happened to your Prince tab? Da 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 da. And I thought it was interesting that when you have something out there and the demand isn't very high for it, they know that they can get it. So I'm at a spot now where people hit me up for prints, and I'm like selectively deciding if I want to do prints or not. So to answer his question, wallpapers, I guess mean online. I did a wallpaper run like 3 months ago, and that was actually really successful. I did like phones and desktops. Did anybody get those? One person? You got them too. I see you right here. He's like, yeah. I still got that. Still got that wallpaper. That's also a really good thing to do for your fans too. Like that's a really quick. That was the first thing I started doing when I started doing user experience UX. If you're like a computer person, that's like you're putting your pulse on your fans or your people, and you're saying what resonates with people. So doing free wallpaper, that's like a really good. I optimized one for Mac, one for Android, and one for iPhone, like iPhone 5 and iPhone 6, and I put a Dropbox link, and it got like 300 clicks. Like a lot of people wanted to get wallpaper. So as far as prints go, I assume he's meaning prints online, but that's to be determined. And did he answer anything else? I guess I could see this guy too. Okay.
Oh, is that it?
I'm a social outcast too. Thanks, man. Well, shout out to Aquatis for spelling outcast the way it should be spelled. Stankonia. You guys, anybody listen to Outkast in here, please? Like, does anybody? No?
Yes.
What? Okay, yes. Okay. How do you work with clothing brands without product on hand to shoot? That's a good question. Depending on the client, normally I'll have my own pictures of product that I shot before, and people will be able to see like, oh, okay, well, they'll get an idea basically. Like he shot clothes before. This is how it would look like with my product inserted. Yeah. So it's easier than you think. It really is. Anybody else?
Have you thought about getting into fine arts, like getting into the galleries? Art galleries?
Yes. Yo, this year has been like so huge on that. That's actually, I've been less active online because I've been out hustling in these galleries. And it's like a really stuffy environment. They hate to see people under like 30 with art. They're like, oh, you're like, it's really stuffy. It's a super stuffy environment. And so I've been trying to carve a niche out in that. And it's actually funny you mentioned that because next month I'm doing a panel similar to this with some other individuals who are like well known and respected in the fine art world. Beautiful. And and that'll be coming along. That was like all me yesterday. Like I don't know if I sounded. I've been really stuffy this past weekend. But yeah, that'll be coming next month, November 15th. Actually, we all heard you, by the way. What? For those live streaming, no, you don't deserve to. Yeah, so yeah, you stay tuned. You will see. I'll be teaching. So I guess to make that applicable to anyone who wants to get into galleries, if you walk up and down Orchard Street, which is actually around here, it's like 2 blocks this way, I think. That entire street is just free galleries. So what I'll do, like Sunday I have this, but normally what I'll do on Sundays is I'll get up and I'll go walk around and just like look at the art installations and see stuff that's other than photography, right? Like you get so consumed in like posting stuff online and like, oh, IG, this and that, da da da, and you get like lost in like learning art. So I'll get up and I'll go look at like some paintings and some fine art or some stuff I wouldn't normally look at, and that's like really good to like just stretch everything out and get a break. And that's applicable to anybody. That's if you're a photographer, go look at some graphic design. If you're a graphic design, go look at some typography and like see how people are crafting their letters and whatnot. And if you do video, look at stuff that's other from another medium. I think that can really help you. But yeah, gallery stuff will be coming soon, hopefully before the end of this year. Anything else?
Have you ever had like a brand like take a picture from Instagram and like...
Oh, the dagger. Yes, all the time. Question: has anybody taken my stuff from my Instagram feed? That actually happened just today, and it was like this morning. And I was like, we were driving in from DC. We spent the night in DC yesterday, and we just came back this morning. And yeah, it's like, I'm not going to name names, but somebody was lifting my stuff off of my feed. And I get it. Like, some people will be like, oh, this guy's super inspiring. Like, go follow him, da-da-da-da. But there's other brands, like reputable brands, that will just drag and drop, screen cap, and your stuff will be super grainy. It's compressed because they don't have the full res image. They'll have a screenshot, and it'll be somewhere in a place that you don't want or it shouldn't be at that you didn't get paid for. So in that way, I see it as like all bad. I'm not naming names. I'm not naming names. They may or may not. Yeah. You can't do anything. That's the thing. Like, when people say like, "What do you do about it?" There's nothing you can do about it. You guys know Bell and Jerry from Australia? Bell and Jerry. It's like Bells and Jerry. He does a lot of music photography. So stuff for like Hype Track, pictures that you'll see of artists, right? So he took some pictures of Hair Weave Killer or 2 Chainz, and 2 Chainz posted 3 of the pictures in a row. They got more than anything this guy's ever posted on his feed ever. He didn't get any credit. Tony couldn't do anything. His name is Tony. Tony couldn't do anything. Like, you're stuck. Like, what are you going to do? Like, he's 2 Chainz. And you're not to put like scales or like numbers don't really whatever. Okay, but like that aside, it's like, who do you think that they're gonna resonate with? So I mean, he just sent people. He actually handled it really well. Like, he was like, he had a hashtag and he was like, everyone go onto 2 Chainz feed and tag Bells Ain't Free. So he got like 500 tags, and there, when people see something, they jump onto it, right? So like, people just saw like, oh, 20 comments of Bells Ain't Free. I should type in Bells Ain't Free. And it just like spread. And I mean, I guess he got his attention because the pictures came down eventually. Yeah, rappers are the worst. I'll just leave that there. Rappers are the worst because like, oh man, you got any dope photos of me? Yeah, let me just post that real quick and just not pay. Like, if someone took their music or their mix and posted it somewhere else without their permission, that's copyright theft. It's just the lines are a little bit blurred now because it's Instagram and there's all these apps like Repost Wiz or whatever. You could just post whatever from whoever's feed, and it's kind of disgusting. So to answer your question, I think you answered that. Whoever, until I get to the point where I have a manager or I have a social security team that like will track them down and ban them for Instagram forever, which I'm not going to do that. I can't do anything about it. What's up?
You can always search your images up, and there's like websites where you could like put them in there and stuff. Even though it takes a lot of time, like let's say like images you shot for like a concert or something that are probably gonna get stolen. You can just search them on Google search, or there's like other sites.
Yeah, and you can like assign them as your like the creditor. Yeah, I mean, it's like, and the internet is super fast these days. Like, anybody can take whatever. All it takes is going into Photoshop and cropping up a little bit, and that's your logo out of the picture and your watermark or whatever, and it's gone. So as far as like illegitimacy of photos, like, I've had people hit me up for like, they knew that it was my image and they hit me up and it's like, hey, this is somewhere it's not supposed to be, or I don't, did you take this? And it happens all the time. The biggest problem I have that with is with Nike and Jordan. Unfortunately, I'm pretty open about that. How they don't give us credit for what we do. Yeah, a lot of big brands are like that. So that's why I highly recommend not working. Like I said, I took the next 2 months off to just completely rebrand and not do anything job-wise, save money, and figure out, this is the lane that I want to work with now. Like, I don't want to do events anymore. I don't want to, it's critical that you guys do that. Like I said, setting goals for yourself, like, that's stuff you got to do, and can pay off in the long run. Anything else? I hate to leave on such a dark note. Like, that got really depressing super fast.
I think we need to wrap it up.
Yeah.
There's a few more questions that came in, so maybe if you want to choose one.
Let me see.
On there.
Oh, so many people. Except Wiz Khalifa. Yeah, G-Eazy. I don't know about Wiz Khalifa, and he's skinny, so he kind of creeps me out. But G-Eazy does tag his photographers. There are people who do that. There are few and far between. Huh?
What's taxes like everyday photography?
Okay, cool. So I'll say, what was your first experience getting paid with photography like? Yo, it was really good because I didn't have to go to work the next day. Like I called out. Basically, I'll put it like this. The money I was making working at Nike Town, I hate to talk about like numbers and stuff, but like the money I was making working a retail job that was like dead end that I hated, I got the same amount of money in one night than I did working for a month in retail. So that answers that, I think. Like it's in your benefit to be freelance. There's a lot more work that you have to do, and you kind of have to look out for yourself, as you've seen. But hopefully this has like opened you up to like thinking about it in some different ways and how you can protect yourself. Cool? All right, you guys, thank you so much. We're going to shut it down. If you have any questions, I'll be around outside. Please feel free to talk to Megan. She's awesome here at Skillshare. And if you guys have any other questions, feel free to let me know. Yay!